a leaf. Now the amazing thing is from the egg, you don't see a butterfly coming up, but a larva. And they become caterpillars. So the amazing things, I want you to think about this. The butterfly lay eggs. Now, from the butterfly, you don't see a butterfly coming out. From the butterfly, you see a larva, and from the larva, you see from the butterfly, you see a caterpillar. Now, look at the body structure of a butterfly and a caterpillar. They are totally different. So when I was telling you that when the theory of evolution is telling us that those evolutions sometimes take millions and millions of years with genetic mutation from one species going to another, this simple example is totally destroying the whole idea of evolution. A caterpillar who has no wings, who is a worm, who is a larva, suddenly goes into a cocoon, and we'll see the video, and from that cocoon, a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. So that means in the genetic material that caterpillar had, he had both the genetic programming for a caterpillar and a genetic programming to become a butterfly. There is no mutation here. The whole programming was present already in the genome. But this is an adaptation, or it's kun fayakun when God says, because God says be, and they are. God says be a caterpillar or be a butterfly. The genetic programming is already in there. So this is a cocoon. That's where the caterpillar would go in. And then it's going to get an amazing transformation. And from that caterpillar, you'll see a beautiful monarch. A butterfly comes out from this cocoon. Now, at the beginning, of course, the wings are useless because the butterfly needs to train himself to use those wings. Now, look at this amazing. Now, little by little, when blood is pumped into these wings, they expand, and the butterfly starts to fly. Now, one very specific behavior that is very specific to monarch butterflies is their migration. Now, 4 generations of butterflies are made. Now, the 5 generations, the first 4 generations, they live about 6 to 8 weeks and they die. But the 5th generation, the last one, is going to migrate to start a cycle. So they start in 6 different directions. They start in the northern Canada. Now, 4 of them go to Mexico, okay? And it's always, every year you have exactly the same migration. 4 of them go to Mexico and 2 of them to the northern California. And they always meet, these 4 population of butterflies, they always meet at the exact same location in Mexico. And they start, the amazing thing is that they start this first, the exact second that the autumn equinox starts. It means when the earth enters into the autumn equinox, these butterflies, like if they receive a message from the heaven, they start moving toward the direction through Mexico and California. Now, they don't eat anything during their traveling because they already have some fat stored in their body. They just drink during their traveling. After 4 months of traveling, when they get to their direction in Mexico and California, they start feeding themselves from the nectars of the flowers. Now, I want to emphasize something here because the movie is going fast. So I said there are 5 generations of those monarch butterflies. the first generation, they just live about 4 to 6 weeks. The last generation, the 5th generation, starts the migration. As I said, from southern Canada, 4 groups join each other in Mexico. 2 groups join each other in Northern California. Now, when do they start their traveling? It's amazing that at the second, you know that these things are exactly programmed. At the exact second that the Earth enters the autumn equinox during his traveling, around the sun, as the second that the Earth enters that equinox, those butterflies receive a message from heaven maybe, and then they start traveling toward their final direction. During that traveling, they don't eat because they already have fat stored in their body. They just drink. For 4 months, those butterflies, they just fly and drink. And when they get to their final destination, they eat. And then let's see the rest of the program. At the end of March, they mate, and then now, again, when do they go back? At the spring equinox. It means as soon as they mate, okay, at the spring equinox, exactly at that time, when days and night become exactly equal, okay, on an exact date and an exact time, exact second, that day and night time becomes equal, those monarch butterfly start migrating again after mating. They start going back to Canada. Let's show the video. And they go exactly the same way back. When they reach Canada, they die shortly after. But after laying their eggs. Now, as soon as they come back, they lay eggs, and the first generation comes up. Those generations, they die very fast. Then the second and third generation, and then the fourth generation. And then the last generation starts again the migration to the south. And that the life of that last generation is 6 months. So again, let's go over this because it is so important. These are things that the theory of evolution, if you talk to every evolutionist, they are totally speechless. They can't defend those. They can show us some skulls, of chimpanzee and say that these are the intermediate forms. But when it comes to these facts and how scientific these facts are, they are speechless. Make a resume. The monarch butterflies, they lay eggs. 4 generations. Now, those eggs, you don't have butterflies coming out of them. You have larvae and caterpillars, like worm. They come out. So imagine, for example, let's say human beings, they mate, and when they deliver the baby, you have like you have like an eagle coming out. And then the eagle goes into a cocoon, and suddenly the eagle would come out, and the eagle would become a human being. You see how amazing this is? So those butterflies, you have in the cocoon a caterpillar, and then after, when the cocoon opens, you have a butterflies coming out. Now those butterflies, they're going to take a journey south, and they always follow the exact same path. 4 groups meet in Mexico, 2 groups meet in Northern California. When do they start? At the exact second that the Earth goes into the autumn equinox. They go to Mexico, they mate, and then at the exact moment that day and night becomes equal in the spring equinox, they go back. They lay eggs and they die. And the next generation is gonna take the journey like they did it before. Now let's now look at another example.
This amazing